Welcome to Spectrum News. I am Rachel David White, coming to you live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa Ibom State. Let's take a look at the headlines. Senate to probe customs abuse of firearms at border communities. Federal government to bar POS agents from fixing new prices. Plus, Putin to skip BRICS summit in South Africa over arrest threats. We'll bring you details of the stories and more in a moment. We begin the news this afternoon from the Red Chambers, where the firearms by officials of the Nigeria Customs Service in Katsina State and at border communities in the country. The committee would probe the incidents in Katsina, including the alleged killings of residents by custom officials during border drills in August 2021. The killing of 10 persons also by custom officials in February 2021 in the Jibia local government area of the state, and the attack on the chief of staff of the Katsina State Governor, Jibiru Sauri, on July 13, 2023. Followed the presentation of a matter of urgent public importance by Senator Abdulaziz Yaradua during today's plenary session. After the probe, the ad hoc committee would proffer solutions and report back to the Red Chamber in 6 weeks. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has called for the suspension of the concession of the Abuja and Kano airport until it concludes its investigation. From the Green Chambers now, where the House of Representatives today rejected an amendment to a motion seeking to suspend the recent increase in the pump price of petrol, members voted against the amendment after Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, who presided over plenary, questioned if it was in the place of the House to take such a position, since pump price is controlled by the market forces. A member, Ugochinyere Ikenga, had moved the motion calling for investigation into the increases in the price of petrol since the removal of petrol subsidy. However, the House resolved to carry out an investigation to ascertain the veracity of the increases. In another development, the House also rejected a motion to set up an ad hoc committee to collect the views of lawmakers, civil society organizations, as well as the public, and engage the government on the selection of the best palliative options to cushion the effect of removal of fuel subsidy in Nigeria. This comes amid uncertainties by Nigerians and indeed members of the House who questioned how the fund approved for the president would be utilized. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has also cautioned security agencies to desist further from destroying vessels containing stolen crude oil, saying the practice is having a negative impact on the environment. This followed the adoption of a motion on the need to discourage the destruction of vessels laden with stolen crude oil with a view to curbing environmental pollution in the Niger Delta region. Moved by Thomas Eretomi in the motion told the House that there have been reports of interception, arrest, and subsequent destruction of vessels laden with stolen crude oil in the Niger Delta area in recent times. He cited a vessel, MT Tura 2, which he claimed was destroyed in the Escravos River in Warri, Southwest local government, compliance against vessels destruction. To the number one citizen of Nigeria now, President Bola Tinubu, who has ordered a review of his funds. In a bid to cushion the effect of the removal of fuel subsidy, the President's Special Advisor on Special Duties, Communications and Strategy, Dele Alake, in a statement noted that the cash program transfer programmed emphasis to bring bring succor to most vulnerable households be reviewed immediately, while ordering the immediate release of fertilizers and grains to approximately 15 million farmers and households respectively in all the 36 states and the FCT. Meanwhile, President Tinubu has said that the Economic Community of West African States (ECOWAS) is fully equipped to combat terrorism and other forms of insecurity in the region. He also said the bloc faces no challenge raising funds for the same purpose. Tinubu said this after a Troika Plus meeting at the Aso Rock Villa with Presidents Patrice Talon of Benin Republic, Umaru Embalo of Guinea-Bissau, Mohamed Bazoum of Niger Republic, and President of the ECOWAS Commission, Dr. Omar Toure, yesterday. The West African leaders added that he is confident in ECOWAS financial planning and engineering capabilities to secure the necessary resources to tackle terrorism and insecurity. Away from that, the federal government, through the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, is set to issue, and Chief Executive Officer Babatunde Irukera confirmed this to Newsman today. According to him, the order would be issued in a couple of hours. He noted that following its first advisory to the Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agents in Nigeria, which was ignored, it is now ready for more definite enforcement. Meanwhile, the Federal Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace says it will collaborate with the United States on direct flights to Houston, Texas. The Permanent Secretary, Dr. Emmanuel Mariboli, said the promise during a visit to the ministry by a delegation from the United States led by the mayor of Houston, Texas, Sylvester Turner, in Abuja. The ministry promised the U.S. delegation that the federal government of Nigeria would work on its request for a direct flight from Nigeria to Houston, a consulate office in Houston, and expand bilateral relations with the government of America. According to a statement by a spokesperson for the ministry, Odutayo Oluseyi, all modalities required for the bilateral air service agreement (BASA) between Nigeria and the U.S. for the direct flight to Texas could commence as soon as new ministers are appointed and deployed in Nigeria. On electoral matters, the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Mahmoud Yakubu, 3 general elections. The meeting, which had as its main objective the review of the conduct of the 2023 general elections, was also attended by electoral officers. According to the Commission, a review of the conduct of the engaged transport unions vis-a-vis the implementation of the Memorandum of Understanding signed with the unions on the provision of logistics is sacrosanct. Reports say the meeting also took stock of how the electoral officers who served as field supervisor UNICEF has blamed myths, disinformation, misinformation, and rumors of major contributing factors to poor immunization in Nigeria. Bakano UNICEF Field Chief Rahama Farah stated these in his goodwill message at the 2-day media dialogue on routine immunization and the zero-dose campaign held in Kano. He said although immunization has been the single most cost-effective and high-impact intervention protecting children against illness and death caused by vaccine-preventable diseases, its acceptability in some areas in the country needs to be enhanced. Farah urged media practitioners to create the demand for immunization and to raise awareness of the importance of immunization by providing accurate information to caregivers, families, and communities. He also charged traditional and religious leaders, community leaders, and civil society organizations to force parent partnerships to eliminate the number of unimmunized children in Nigeria. Back here, doctors and nurses in Uyo have warned that people with HIV are prone to having tuberculosis. Speaking with Spectrum Television, a nurse at Handmaid Hospital, Mbotidemo Morin, said HIV and tuberculosis are linked and warned that such persons should desist from self-medications. The details comes up.
In 2021, 1.9 million Nigerians were living with HIV. Women were the most affected group, counting 1.1 thousand individuals. Also, children up to the age of 14 who were HIV positive equaled 170,000. Tuberculosis is the second leading infectious killer disease globally. People living with HIV are more likely than others to become sick with tuberculosis. This is because HIV weakens the immune system, which makes it harder for the body to fight TB germs. Spectrum Television spoke to Dr. Nkeruem Etok and Nurse Mbatidem Morgan, who explained the link between HIV and tuberculosis while stating the negative effect of self-medication.
When you have those symptoms, the only way you can confirm that this patient is a tuberculosis patient is to go for tests.
We know that HIV and tuberculosis they are husband and wife. So that is why we put our eye to, especially for people with HIV, because of their immune system. And you know that tuberculosis is an airborne disease. So people think that they are free in the society. No, that is why we advise for total medical checkup at least once in a year. Because before some signs and symptoms of TB that some people may also neglect are coughing, persistent fever or intermittent fever that we may have this week, next week goes come back. Then drenching night sweat. This one, if no matter how the weather is cold, that person is still sweating. That is the symptoms of TB. That is the signs of TB. So that is none. Coughing. Now another one is losing of weight. This person that was fat before is losing weight every day. He's going to the hospital doing HIV test negative. Have you gone for TB screening?
So it is not that. It is just a disease like any other disease, except that it does not respond to the common medication that one will go to the pharmacy or to the chemist and just buy things and go and take, and it does not go. It means this thing is not a medicine thing I have tried. So he resorts to know. Go to the hospital, meet your doctor, get the proper diagnosis, and get treated. Once you are treated, you are good to go.
HIV is not a death sentence. It can be treated as a chronic illness or a chronic disease. In Uyo, Blessing Dixit, Spectrum Television News.
Now to Africa, where South Africa's ruling African National Congress ANC is reportedly hosting meetings with members of political parties from Brazil, Russia, India, China and others ahead of the BRICS summit on August 22nd in Johannesburg. Reports say the conflict in Ukraine remains one of the main topics of discussion. It is not clear if Russian President Vladimir Putin will attend next month's summit of the BRICS emerging economies. But South Africa's Deputy President Paul Mashatile said in an interview that the country is trying to persuade Putin to stay away to avoid legal and diplomatic fallout over his international arrest warrant. And still in Africa, China's President Xi Jinping has held China's relationship with Algeria in a meeting in the capital Beijing with his Algerian counterpart, Abdelmajid Tebboune. Xi Jinping said China and Algeria for 65 years have shared weal and woe, helped each other, and the friendship between the two countries has been strengthened over time. Reports say the meeting takes place a month before the BRICS summit in South Africa. According to reports, since 2014, Algeria and China have been strategic partners and have pledged to expand their cooperation in the economy, trade, energy space, and health. On the foreign scene, Russian President Vladimir Putin will not attend a BRICS Nation Summit in South Africa next month. The country's presidency today and the amount of speculations he could be detained. Putin's potential visit has been a thorny diplomatic issue for Pretoria. The Russian leader is a target of an international criminal court arrest warrant, a provision that South Africa, as an ICC member, would be expected to implement if he were to set foot in the country. According to reports, Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov will instead represent Russia and China, and which sees itself as a counterweight to Western economic domination. Meanwhile, Putin was formally invited to a BRICS summit due to take place in Johannesburg between August 22nd and 20th. Still on a foreign scene, security officials shot into the air and used fire hoses to disperse dozens of Afghan women protesting in Kabul against order by Taliban authorities to shut down beauty parlors today, but latest core to squeeze them out of public life. Since seizing power in August 2021, the Taliban government has barred girls and women from forces the closure of thousands of beauty parlors nationwide to socialize away from home. It could be recalled that Afghan women staged reporters for their ride at a beauty site ordered beauty parlors across the country to shut within a month. The Vice Ministry confirmed the latest call to squeeze women out of public life. And still to come in the news, Benjamin Mendy signs for Welcome back and many thanks for staying with us. On our business news, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, says its members increased the pump price per litre of petrol from 500 to over 617 naira to stay afloat. The IPMAN president, Chinadu Okoronkwo, made this known in a live broadcast, according to money to load from depots and the Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPC) Limited. The IPMAN boss noted that the timing of the price increment was not an issue, adding that government must work out measures to mitigate the effect of the price adjustment and ease the pressure on dollars. Still on business, the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) has released an updated list of Bureau de Change BDC dealers approved in the country. According to the list published by the Apex Bank, the total number of approved BDC operators reduced to 2,991 and total licenses withdrawn is 2,698. As of December 31st, 2021, where the CBN had approved 5,689 dealers. Reports say the number of BDCs grew more by 100% under the former CBN governor, more than 100% under the former CBN governor Godwin Emefiele, who banned the sale of foreign exchange to BDCs over round-tripping and involvement in illegal financial flows. Under the new administration, a document titled "Pausing the Capitalization for BDC Operators." In health, public health experts have called on the federal and state government to increase disease surveillance and control mechanism to ensure that the first anthrax case confirmed in Niger State does not spread to other Niger State as part of measures to ensure that no more cases is recorded. According to a public health expert, Dr. Euphemia Okonkwo, there is a need for the federal government, Niger State government, and NCDC to procure anthrax spore vaccines for immediate vaccination of all animals within the point of outbreaks and environs. Also speaking, another public health expert, Dr. Christian Epunobi, is not an airborne disease that can spread like a wildfire. Meanwhile, a consultant and infectious disease physician, Dr. Ihoren Akase, the anthrax disease outbreak in Niger State and prevent it from spreading to other parts of the country. Dr. Akase, who is the head of the infectious disease unit and contagious disease that can be transmitted from animals to humans, the consultant advised Nigerians to adhere strictly to health guidelines issued by health authorities such as exercises like Benin, Chad, Niger, Ghana, and Togo to reduce the potential risk of infection and spread of the disease. In sport, the Athletics Integrity Unit AIU has taken the decision to provisionally suspend Nigerian track and field athlete Tobias Musa for 3 missed whereabout failures. The suspension was announced after it was discovered that Amusan had missed 3 drug tests, and determined before the World Athletics Championships. Tobias Musa, aged 26, is the women's hurdles world record holder who has represented Nigeria in numerous international competitions. Still in sport, Benjamin Mendy signed for French club Lorient today after the former Manchester City and France defender was acquitted in a sex offences trial in England last week. Mendy, 29, was cleared of sex offences last week, ending a 3-year court process. The player, who would have faced a lengthy jail term if convicted, had previously been cleared in January of 6 counts of rape and 1 of sexual assault following a 6-month trial. But jurors in that trial had been unable to reach a verdict on 2 other counts, triggering the retrial that ended last week. Mendy, whose contract with English and European champions Manchester City expired at the end of June, had denied all the charges against him. On entertainment news, Nollywood veteran Kanayo Okanayo has cautioned filmmakers over misleading pictures of dressing and makeup in movies. Kanayo, in a video on his Instagram page, said that most times filmmakers do not align with movie costumers. According to the actor, it is important to be realistic in images created by filmmakers, noting that by doing so, the industry would become more credible and acquire a more formidable character with weight, which it cannot be ignored in the national and international agenda. Still on entertainment, Spice Girl Melanie C, pop star Self-Esteem, and Wolf Alice singer Ellie Rosell have teamed up to record a song for England's Women's World Cup team titled Call Me a Lioness. The track references England players Chloe Kelly for the World Cup, which kicks off in Australia this week. Mel C said she was cheering on the women's team to bring the cup home again. And that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 4. I am Rachel David White. Good afternoon.
Every society is premised on the quality of